Now at 6, Governor Ron DeSantis is reassuring Florida voters after an FBI briefing reveals that Russian hackers breached voting databases in the Sunshine State. The intrusion was limited to 2 counties, but the governor and the FBI are not saying which ones were affected.
However, they are insisting that Florida's 2016 election results were not compromised. CBS 4's Ted Scouten is live tonight in Fort Lauderdale outside Broward Elections headquarters. Ted.
Yeah, Rudabe and Elliott, the question or the big headline tonight comes from the supervisors of elections in both Miami-Dade as well as Broward. They tell us that neither county was breached, but now the big question is who got hacked?
2 Florida counties experienced intrusion into the supervisor of election networks.
Governor Ron DeSantis briefed by the FBI confirming that Russians hacked into Florida's election network prior to the 2016 election.
There was no manipulation or anything, but there was voter data that was able to be gathered. Now that voter data I think was public anyways. Nevertheless, those were intrusions. It did not affect any voting or anything like that.
The governor is not revealing which counties experienced those intrusions. He said the FBI will not allow him to. The FBI confirms that, saying it's because of the confidential and sensitive nature of the investigation.
There were 2 counties, and I'm not allowed to name the counties. I signed a disclosure agreement. I would be willing to name it for you guys, but they asked me to do that, so I'm going to respect their wishes.
As far as Broward voters, should there be a concern that perhaps we were one of the 2 counties that...
We were not. We were not one of the 2 counties. And I feel very comfortable about that.
While the governor is not revealing where those breaches were, supervisors of elections in Broward and Miami-Dade say it wasn't here. Miami-Dade's election office released a statement saying, in part, "We have no indication at this time that a county system or one of our valued partners has been breached." Broward election supervisor Peter Antonacci said hackers have tried in the past.
Attempted hacks? Yes. Failed hacks? Yes. Real hacks? No.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo spent the day in Russia. He said he made it very clear that interfering in U.S. elections is unacceptable.
And we spoke, too, about the question of interference in our domestic affairs. I conveyed that there are things that Russia can do to demonstrate that these types of activities are a thing of the past, and I hope that Russia will take advantage of those opportunities.
And the governor said those 2 counties that were hacked knew they were hacked in 2016 and were already working with the FBI. Live in Fort Lauderdale, Ted Scouten, CBS 4 News.
Ted, thank you. And we have posted Governor DeSantis' entire news conference on Russian hacking in Florida's election systems on our website. You can watch it at cbsmiami.com.